All right, let's dive right in. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through a really crucial step for any new idea: how to visually map out your competitive advantage. It's a simple, powerful process that shows you exactly where you stand. Let's get started. Okay, first things first, I want you to think about this question. Who is your #1 biggest competitor? Go on, get a name in your head. Is it some big established company? Or maybe another up-and-coming startup like yours? Well, whatever name just popped into your head, chances are it's not the one you should be worried about the most.
And this quote just nails it. The real heavyweight champion you're up against isn't another company. It's inertia. It's just the way things are. It's convincing people to stop doing what they're already doing.
So this is so important to grasp. The biggest slice of the pie, the biggest opportunity, comes from getting people to change their habits. Overcoming that "we've always done it this way" mindset is the real battle, not getting into a feature-for-feature war with another startup. So if the real competition is the status quo, how do you beat it? Well, before we can even think about looking outward at the market, we have to look inward. What is it about you that gives you the right to win? And that brings us to this key idea: the core. Think of your core as your secret sauce. It's your company's DNA. It's that one unique internal strength that you can build on day after day to deliver real value. So what makes a strong core? It really boils down to 3 things. First, it has to be what you are genuinely best at. Second, it's not a one-and-done thing. You're always working to make it better. And finally, it should be your North Star, something that only changes when you have a profound insight into what your customers care about most.
And this right here, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's great to have a core strength, but it's totally useless unless it perfectly lines up with what your customer actually wants and needs. So how can we see that connection? Well, we're going to use a really powerful tool. It's called the competitive positioning chart. Now I know, the name sounds a bit formal, but trust me, it's an incredibly simple and visual way to see exactly how your value stacks up against everyone else. The entire point of this chart is to build a bridge. It creates a clear visual link between your internal strength, your core, and the external needs of your customer. It connects what you do best to what they want most. So, are you ready to build one? It's actually way easier than it sounds. Let's just walk through it together, step by step. Okay, before you even pick up a pen, you need to be crystal clear on this first step. You have to identify your customer's top 2 priorities. Not 5, not 10, just the 2 that matter most. Once you have those, you just draw a simple X and Y axis, like in math class. Let's start with the horizontal line, the X-axis. This is going to represent priority #1. Down near the corner, the origin, that's the bad state, where the problem is a real pain. As you move out to the right, you get to the good state, where that problem is totally solved. And now we do the exact same thing for the vertical Y-axis. This represents priority #2. Bad state is at the bottom, good state is all the way at the top. And just like that, you've created your competitive map. Simple, right? So what's the first thing we put on the map? It's our biggest competitor, the status quo. Since the current way of doing things doesn't solve either priority very well, it naturally lands down in that bottom left quadrant. That's your baseline. Now let's add the other players to the board. Maybe one of your competitors is fantastic at solving priority 1, but they completely ignore priority 2. Well, they would go somewhere in the bottom right. Plot them all out, but be honest about how they serve the customer's priorities, not your own. And now, it's the moment of truth. Based on your unique core, what you do better than anyone else, where does your business land on this chart? Put your dot on the map. Okay, take a step back and look at what you've created. The chart is built. Now comes the most important part: actually reading it. What is this picture telling you about your strategy? The goal here is crystal clear. You want to be in the top right quadrant. That's the winner circle. Being there means your solution, powered by your core, is better at solving both of the customer's top priorities than anyone else, including the status quo. But what happens if you plot your business and you're not there? What if you're stuck in the middle? Or worse, you're barely any better than what people are doing now? Hey, don't freak out. This is not a failure. This is incredibly valuable information. It's a huge flashing sign from the market telling you that something is out of sync. Either your product isn't truly playing to your unique strengths, or maybe, just maybe, you're trying to win in the wrong market. Now, let's say you've done the work and you've found your spot in that top right quadrant. this chart suddenly transforms from an internal tool into your most powerful story.
Think about it this way. For you and your team, the chart is a mirror. It shows you with brutal honesty where you're strong and where you fit. But for your customers, it becomes a simple visual story. It shows them exactly why you are the best choice and gives them a really compelling reason to finally make a change.
So let's end where we began, but with a new challenge. Thinking about what you've just learned and being really honest about your customers' top 2 priorities, where would your idea land on this chart? The answer to that question might just define your entire path forward.